Internet giants plan to work from home for the remaining of 2020. To tech companies' credit, they were, for the most part, leaders in converting to remote work at the start of the pandemic. Internet giants include Google and Facebook have informed their staff to get ready to stay home for all of 2020. On Thursday, Facebook told employees that they can work remotely through 2020 if they like. The social media company doesn't expect to open most offices until July 6 at the earliest. California, Google's home state, is letting some businesses open in limited ways, including some manufacturing. A few ways teams can make working remotely successful is to focus on over-communicating decisions across all geographies, minimizing the friction in setting up the development environment, clearly defining the definition of done, creating guidelines for filling effective bug reports. Online real estate company Zillow also said employees can work from home until the end of the year. My personal opinions about work from home have been turned upside down over the past 2 months. I expect this will have a lasting influence on the future of work and home, tweeted Zillow's CEO co-founder Rich Barton. In efforts to put the spotlight on coding and STEM, Apple unveils the WWDC 2020 coding contest for students. With Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference going virtual in 2020 due to the coronavirus, the company is launching a Swift Student Challenge as a way to encourage and connect with students, since they won't get the opportunity to travel to North California for the annual event this year. To participate, student developers only need to use Swift Playground on iPad or Mac to build an interactive scene that can be experienced in 3 minutes or less. The contest runs from May 5th to May 17th. Winners will get a WWDC 20 jacket and pin. Winners will be notified by June 16th ahead of the virtual WWDC conference, which is set to begin June 22nd. This initiative aims to replace the annual WWDC Scholars Program that Apple awards annually to 350 students based on their Swift Playground submissions. Codota picks up $12 million in funding for an AI platform that autocompletes developers' code. Thanks to the smartphones and their downsized keyboards, autocomplete has become a nearly ubiquitous feature of how we write these days. To save us precious seconds composing and correcting words, our keyboards now prompt us suggestions of what we're trying to write to get the job done a little bit more easily. But email and messaging composing isn't the only area where artificial intelligence and semantic analytics are being used in this way. Today, a startup that has built a platform that applies the concept to the world of coding is announcing a round of funding to expand its business. Codota, an Israeli startup that provides an AI tool to developers to let them autocomplete strings of code that they are writing, intended both to speed up their work and to make sure that it's using the right syntax and spelled correctly. A Series A led by e.ventures with participation also from previous backers, TPY Capital and Hetz Ventures, the company has now raised $16 million in total and is not disclosing its evaluation. The funding comes on the heels of Codota acquiring one of its biggest competitors, Tab9, out of Canada. Late last year, to expand the number of languages that it can support, it now says it supports all major languages, including Python, JavaScript, Java, C, and HTML, and it operates across major IDEs such as VS Code, Eclipse, and IntelliJ. The funding will be used to expand its reach into the existing range further, as well as to bring more customers. Today, the list of those that are already using Codota's tool is impressive. It includes developers from companies like Google and Amazon, as well as Netflix. It says its user base has grown more than 1,000% in the last year. Microsoft will narrow its focus to software developers at this year's virtual Build conference. Microsoft Build is an annual conference event held by Microsoft aimed at software engineers and web developers, using generally Windows, Microsoft Azure, and other Microsoft technologies. This conference was first held in 2011. Unlike past years, people will only be able to watch the 2020 Microsoft Build conference online, and the event won't be as much talk about big picture strategy or new software features for end users. Over 6,000 people registered to attend last year's show in Seattle. Microsoft on Thursday said it will start accepting registrations for its first digital-only Build developer conference scheduled for May 19th through the 21st. Microsoft had originally planned to hold the event in Seattle but canceled in-person gatherings in March as coronavirus became more prevalent. More than 6,000 people registered to attend last year's Build conference in downtown Seattle. Microsoft is now providing more detail on its substitute for one of its marquee activities that brings together employees with outsiders. This year's event will be free, and it will be more focused on the core audience of software developers rather than the end users of products like Windows 10 or Office applications, or people interested in understanding bigger picture corporate strategy. Last month, Microsoft held a digital event for journalists to learn about new features in the Edge browser and other products. Build will see Microsoft delivering content for a larger audience. Executives will talk about artificial intelligence technologies, the Azure cloud, the Microsoft 365 family of products, including the Office Productivity Bundle. Keynote presentations at this year's event will be shorter, and some of the discussions that normally take place in person will happen on Twitter instead. Microsoft executives will be recording content ahead of time from their homes as they continue to shelter in place. Holding the event only will mean journalists won't have their usual press room available. Microsoft will provide a gathering place for journalists in the Teams communication app for this year's Build. Earlier this month, Microsoft told partners that it had chosen to make all internal and external events into digital-first affairs through July 21st. At some point, Microsoft will probably hold in-person conferences again, the person said. Other big technology companies like Apple, Facebook, and Google have also canceled or gone online only with major developer events that had been planned for this year as COVID-19 cases mounted.